Hello there, and welcome to this rather late meta show. I had a strong run comp last weekend, and it's was absolutely knackering. So, apologies that this is a little late. Anyway, let's stop looking at my face and start looking at some graphs. Cool. So, I've also learned how to do some other things on OBS. So. Hopefully, I'm going to have a go at making an introduction sort of music-y bit by stealing some stuff from Total War. Anyway, but that's enough of that for now. Here's the popularity of... So, just to explain, my name's Dan. I'm a bit of a Warhammer nerd. I like talking about the old world and square bases and stuff like that. And I am very nearly PhD. Again, I just need to finish off rewriting my thesis, which I've really spent far too little time doing. Anyway, over the last few months, it's very nearly there. Right, I keep saying that though. I just need to actually submit it. I think that's that I'm procrastinating. Anyway, shut up, Dan. Get on with this. Right. So in terms of what's happened in the meta, there's been very little change over the last few weeks in terms of popularity. Warriors of Chaos have gone from 10% to 11%. There doesn't seem to have been any reductions in percentages. I'm just checking. Oh yeah, demons have gone from 4% to 3%. So that's really the only difference in terms of like who's taking what. Everything else has gone, pretty much to scale, so that's pretty good. What this is showing us, however, is that the big sort of factions in this edition are Tomb Kings, Bretonnia, Chaos Warriors, Orcs and Goblins. Dwarves are very popular because they're cool, but they're not very good, as we'll see later. High Elves, Wood Elves. The factions you would expect are quite popular. Skaven are not popular because they're terrible. Right, so we'll first have a look at the win percentile. Now, win percentage. What the bar is, that's the average win percent, and then these red, it's called a box and whisker plot. But these red whiskers from the average give you what a normal player would do at a tournament. So this gives you like a range of results and gives you an idea about how a faction's performing, not in terms of just its win percentage, because actually very few people achieve the win percentage, but in terms of what's normal for a player at a tournament. So what this is showing us is, so if it's inside normal, it's inside normal. If there's no rounding, it's either in or out, right? So, for instance, Beastman Bray Herds, this normal range here might be just above 20%, but that doesn't mean you round it to 20%, i.e. that doesn't mean that it's normal for a Beastman player to win 1 out of 5 games at a 5-game tournament. That would be wrong. It's 2, see at 40%, to 4. So 2 to 4 is the normal range of wins for a Beastman player at a 5-game tournament. So we can see here that there are 3 factions where it's normal for them to win 4 out of 5 games at a 5-game tournament. It's quite high to win 4. It's also normal, again, if you want to go to a tournament and you want to win at least 2 games, you're better off picking one of these 5 factions here, because it's pretty normal for them to achieve that, and it's abnormal for them to get below that. High Elves are pushing up on that percentage as well, in terms of being a bit more reliable at tournaments. They just haven't got the 4-game win bit here, if that makes sense. So these factions are doing well. Skaven, it's normal for them to win nothing. It's not normal for everybody else to win nothing. Basically, if you've won no games at a tournament and you're any faction other than Skaven, that means you've had a pretty bad day. In terms of rank percentile, so this looks at where the bar again is the average and the whiskers are again what range of normal is. normal being a statistical measure, so it's not really the English word normal. It's a statistical word for normal, and it basically means the normal range is about 2/3 of people, and this is all historical, of course. So it may not happen again in the future, and it might not be a good indication of future results. But anyway, we've got a rank percentile here. So what the rank percentile means is, so for instance, if you're a 50% rank percentile, that means out of 11 people at a tournament, you finished 6th. So like bang on average. If you finish first, you get 100 percentile result. So when a faction finishes first, it gets 100 percentile result. And when it finishes last, it gets a 0%. And so this is the average, and again, the normal range of results, ranging from top to bottom. So this shows where factions are in tournaments, and I've ordered it in the order of their win percentage, and I've done that for a reason, because then it allows us to identify anomalies. So for instance, as you go down the win percentages, these all look okay, but then Chaos Dwarves drops below High Elves and almost below Wood Elves in terms of where they finish in tournaments. So that suggests that Chaos Dwarves, although they're winning lots of games as a percentage of games, they're falling behind at tournaments. Either they're not winning by big margins, or when they lose, they get absolutely tabled. It's one of the two, or both of these things might be happening. And again, as you come down the rankings, we're seeing as win percentages decrease, rank percentiles decrease. That's normal, I'd suggest. One leads to another. Apart from here, where dwarves happen, because as you can see, they drop below the factions to the right of them, so they've got a better win percentage than these factions, but they're doing badly at tournaments, worse at tournaments than these factions. And this is sort of slightly worrying, because dwarves last time were just behind vampires, so they were here, so they've fallen down. This is only over the course of like a couple of weeks, but they've fallen down quite a lot in terms of win percentages as well. So maybe historically we had a few really good dwarf players who are holding the results up, and now people are starting to take them. They're starting to realise how limited they are. But anyway, dwarves are a bit of a problem, as we'll see later. So we've looked at the win percentage. This chart I've added because I thought it was sort of slightly interesting. It's an all or nothing chart. So basically, the more blue, so the blue are basically all of the results that these factions have had where they've won 0 games at a tournament, and the green is where they've won all the games at a tournament. So 3, 5, 6 game tournaments, whatever. If that's 100% wins, blue is 0% wins. So as we saw last time, actually, Tomb Kings, Warriors, they were all sort of Kingdom and Bretonia have oh no, that's the same as last time. I've just changed their order. So these are more or less the same as last time. Just checking. Yeah. So there's not really a massive amount of change here. So there's not really a massive amount of change here. So this seems to be pretty sorted. So essentially, if you want to, so what these percentages are at the moment, at the bottom, are the percentage of 100% wins as a percentage of total tournament entries. So essentially 11% of people who've taken Tomb Kings to a tournament have won every single game with them. So it's 1 in 10 people who, now it's getting towards, like this is like 1 in 8, is that? Yeah, it's about 1 in 8 Beastmen and Bretonia and Vampire counts have won every single game. Same with Skaven, actually, 1 in 8, but that's a bit misleading because hardly anybody's taken Skaven recently. So, but anyway, these 3 factions here, the popular ones, these are the ones that you want to take. Weirdly, Warriors of Chaos, it's actually quite difficult to win all your games with them. I'd argue that's probably because they don't really have any shooting. So, like, there are some factions that they do have a weak spot against. Ironically, dwarves are one of them that is actually quite difficult to fight with with Chaos Warriors, because dwarves are quite tough, and they've got all the defensive advantages that you know everybody else. For instance, like orcs and goblins, they're also quite tough, like Warriors of Chaos, but they have shooting, and they have shooting, and also they have the weakness of having low armor. Dwarves have high toughness and high levels of armor, so it's difficult for combat armies to really take them down. Anyway, but Naught wins. I mean, there's some really worrying stats down here. Like nearly half of Skaven players don't win a single game at tournaments. That's pretty bad. Like, that needs addressing. Ogres, like 1 in 4 people, roughly 1 in 5 for Empire who go to tournaments, don't win a single game. That's quite a negative experience. I mean, I've been there myself by taking out of meta factions and trying to do my best with them and finding out the reasons why they're out of meta. It's not a nice place to be. So I really hope that maybe somebody at GW might be watching this, and maybe they might do something about these guys down here, and dwarves. That this stat's getting worse and worse and worse. Actually, every single week, dwarves are getting worse. So they need some help. And here, I thought I'd do some rankings based on some other stats. So these are objective, like, tier rankings. This is based on how good a faction is in terms of its win percentage and also in terms of its tournament ranking. And what I've done is I've done some Z stats and produced a composite of the tournament ranking and the win percentage to come up with some tiers. So, naturally, now I've noticed this. I've noticed I've made a mistake and I've not got the current results right. Because I'm an idiot. Hold on a minute, I'll just check. So Ogres and Skaven, so these two down here should be 5E. Okay, so this is their rank last month. So this is again, it's the composite of how well they were doing in terms of win percentage and in terms of tournaments last month. So over May, Khemri, Warriors of Chaos have been doing pretty well. Warriors of Chaos have been S tier, pretty much all the way. So has Khemri. Beastmen have played quite badly in May for some reason. Actually, so have Bretonia. Weirdly, I don't know when this has happened. Yeah, I don't know when this has happened with Bretonia, but Bretonia's. So this is essentially a composite of all the results. This is last month and this is last quarter. So this sort of shows you how the meta is developing over time. Vampire counts are doing well at the moment. Dark Elves are actually doing very badly recently, but overall they're D tier. They're not very good. Basically, S tier, they're good at winning battles and they're good at getting good tournament placings. A tier, they're good at either winning battles or tournaments. B tier, they're kind of average at winning battles or tournaments. D tier, they're bad at either winning battles or getting good tournament results. And E tier are bad at both winning battles and getting high tournament placings. Okay, so that's more or less how that works. I should really put a key here, shouldn't I? That would make sense, wouldn't it? Like a little thing that explains what the rankings mean and what the charts. I should do that with all the charts, really, have some explanatory notes. But anyway, whatever. Another job for next week. But hopefully this gives you an idea about where factions are at the moment. There are a lot of D tier factions, so stuff that find it difficult to win battles or to get good placings in tournaments. There's like a real I don't want to sort of sound political, but there's like a real rich poor divide emerging within a good bad divide emerging within the old world, which is quite sad, really, because it looked quite balanced a couple of months ago, but now we're starting to see some pretty big polarities, and there are some factions that do pretty well, and then there are the others that really struggle. Orcs and Goblins down, basically. These factions, if you've got one of these, well done. You're quite lucky. These are the ones that are pretty good, and these ones are really struggling at the moment. Dwarves, again, I mean, they've put in some good results over the last month, but you know, they're really, really struggling overall. Yeah, so that's the meta. So I hope that's been useful. Now I'm going to talk about some lists. So if you just wanted the stats, you know, please consider subscribing now, and I'll catch you on the next one. And now we're going to have a look at some tournaments, some stuff about where they are and all the rest. And if you're here just for the stats, you know, and you've liked this video, there is indeed a button for that. This is me trying to work stuff out. Right, let's have a look at this one because we're on the screen. So this is the grand. Now the reason I've brought this one up is because where is he? Adam West, as in Batman, attended this tournament. He's a friend of mine on Facebook. He's been messaging me, and he said, "What about this tournament? Can you cover it? I'm not sure whether it qualifies." Well, no. Not because it doesn't qualify. Actually, there's enough points there. The problem is there's no lists and there's no faction details. So I'll just show you what I was looking at, because when you we go closed. These are the only three, so that, you know, that does nothing. So I don't know. I think there are some tournaments where they're kept private by the tournament organisers, so the data isn't actually published. So if the data is not published, I can't get at it. So there is the possibility that there's a lot of stuff going on in New Recruit that I just can't access because well, I can't. The only one out of these that actually was this one. So we've had a 1,500.5 game tournament in New Zealand, which is pretty cool. And Joe won it. _Joe_ won it. So well done, Joe, with his high elves, which is exciting. Tim Yoss, I think he had nomadic tribes, orcs and goblins, which is quite cool. And then the obligatory Tomb Kings on the podium. You often see Tomb Kings on podiums. And then Rob Day with High Elves managed to finish last as well, losing all 5, which is quite incredible for a High Elf player. So let's have a look at how he managed that. Okay. So this is Rob Day, 1,500 points. He's got a Mage, Noble, on Chariot. Oh, there's no Dragon. That's the problem. Yeah, he's got some Archers and Spears, which are okay, but you're better off with Seaguard. We've got some Sword Masters, not a lot, they'll die very quickly. Got a Bolt Thrower, they're rubbish, they don't ever hit. And then he's got some Dragon Princes, which are pretty cool, but then he's got nothing in the list to be able to get in the way to stop them from being triggered by the Impetuous rule. So you do kind of need some Silver Helms or Illyrian Reavers or something just to get in the way of Dragon Princes, so that they, you know, they don't need to take Impetuous because they can't wheel out, basically. So you just need something to overlap them so you can keep them under control. But yeah, so that list explains why he didn't win a game. Well, not why he didn't win a game, because it's not terrible, but it's not, you know, there's work, there's improvements to be made. Peter Raven had some Tomb Kings. He's got a dragon there. He's got a Mortuary Priest. So he's gone for Mortuary Cult, probably, or whatever it's called. Archers, Warriors, Team Guard, 3 Necropolis Knights, Necrosphinx, Scream Skull. That's not, actually he's done quite well with that, because that's not an amazing list. That's got some choices that you don't see very often in successful Tomb King lists. So, you know, Peter's done very well on the day with a list that's got some stuff that people don't typically take. So that's pretty pretty interesting. It's, oh no, it's not. It's a Tomb King. Sorry, I thought that was a priest on a dragon with breath. He's got Armor of the Ages. Full. Oh, that'll be the dragon's got full plate, hasn't it? Yes, he's got Armor of the Ages. That's the one we have to re-roll wounds against it, and he's got Giant Blade, just to do a bit more damage. So that's pretty good. Yep. So that will have been. You see that quite a bit. Then Tim Yoss with Nomadic. It was Nomadic War. Yeah. So he's gone for Kicknick Tooth Snatcher, which is the named character, which is pretty cool. He's got lots of interesting rules. I think the named characters in the new Orc and Goblin list are more for, like, if you want a flavour of one of the sub factions within a normal Orc army, then that's kind of what they're for. They're not necessarily... Kicknick doesn't necessarily sit that well in a Nomadic War. I mean, he's not terrible, but he doesn't sit that well in it. Then he's got an Orc War Boss with Trollhide Trousers on a Wyvern, obviously. And he's got the Choppiest Chopper, which has got more AP, I think, or something. He's got some Wolf Rider mobs. He's got some Boar Boy mobs. Boar Boy. Yeah, obviously. I mean, Boar Boy mobs are fantastic. Doing impact hits, for how cheap they are, doing impact hits is just really, really good. I think 12, actually, that's a pretty solid, unit count, because you could have two ranks of 6, 6 impact hits on the charge, which is pretty good. That makes sense. Yeah, that's and a couple of Boar Boy chat. I mean, he's fitting quite a lot for 1,500 points, so that would be difficult to fight, because they'd be all over the place, and then you got some bloody Wolf Riders to be an absolute nightmare. So yeah, that's pretty good. So well done, Tim. Now Tim managed to lose a game though. So who did he lose against? He lost in the final round against _Joe_. So it's quite fitting, really. The tournament, the top two faced off in the lot. Joe managed to lose a game though, didn't he? He managed to lose a game, match 4 against Peter. Oh. So the top 3 all played each other, and a bit of a stalemate between all 3. That's nice. Anyway, right. What's Joe got in his list? Joe has a dragon, Prince on Dragon, of course, with the typical stuff, 5 at ward and all the rest. He's got a mage on a steed with a Ruby Ring of Ruin for a bit more damage output. He's got some Reavers and Dragon Princes, and he's got some Silver Helms. And he's got 2 Lion Chariots. Lion Chariots are cool. Like, the models are cool, and I think the rules are pretty good as well. I see people take them as mounts for characters quite a lot. I just take them as they are and, like, not put the characters on them. I'm not sure. Can you put wizards on Skycutters? I think that might be useful, but... yeah, anyway. So then he's got some archers just to make up the points. I guess that's sensible. If you've only got like 130 points that you've got to fill, then, I mean, personally, pardon me, I take more Silver Helms and Reavers if possible, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the army. But anyway, that looks like a pretty good list. It's very quick, and speed is of the essence in the new meta. Swift Stride is an amazingly powerful ability. So having as many things with Swift Stride as possible really does make a difference, because being able to choose your combats is super important. So Swift Stride's great. And the maths behind how it works, it makes your charges super reliable. So, like a 9-inch charge with Swift Stride, which is the maximum distance, by the way, is like 50-50, for instance. If you work out the maths properly, it's not quite. It's like 46% or something like that. But still, like a 9-inch charge is pretty reliable. Anyway, so that's a good list from Joe. That looks pretty strong. So you see the difference between Joe's list and Rob's list. Joe's is very quick. It's got a dragon. It's got a wizard with the ruby ring, so it's doing extra damage. Rob's has got a lot of like fairly static troops, and I think he's tried to go a bit quicker with the Swordmasters with drilled, so he can get that kind of triple move off. But it's not Swift Stride. I'm telling you, Swift Stride is the cheat code almost. Which is why I think Orcs and Goblins, as soon as they start to work out nomadic horde, like Michael, he came next to bottom. Let's have a look at Michael. Yeah, so we've got slow orcs, we've got slow black orcs. We do have the Wyvern without troll hide trousers for some reason. We've got a big boss with troll hide trousers, but that's not on the Black Orc war boss on the Wyvern. So he's got a talisman of protection. Yeah, so I mean that stuff's alright. There's no wizard, which means it's going to struggle a bit. So you see what I mean in terms of like the difference between something that's slow and gets outmaneuvered against something that's quick. Right. Cool. So then let's have a look at some of these. There's been some really interesting tournaments. There's this one which I'm going to talk about last because you don't often get people winning 5 out of 5 actually nowadays. And to be fair, Matt very nearly didn't win 5 out of 5. He managed to get an 11 there, but he's got 3 20s. That's pretty strong. And when we have a look at the list, you'll see why. Anyway, this is the Road to Nova, which is a tournament in the United States, which is running off 2,500 points. Again, please tell me whether this is win or not. Like, whoever this organizer is of these things, can you please, like, sort out BCP so it actually reports what the actual results were? Because it's really difficult to... What I've done is I've guessed that if somebody's got 11, 12 or 10, they've probably got a draw. A dwarf. In fact, we should call it a win, dwarf or loss really nowadays, because dwarves, I think, in terms of percentage of result, dwarves are the faction that draw the most. I really should do that stat really, shouldn't I? Just to prove it. But anyway. So, Luna Valentine of the $1 Billion Clown Farm won, I think Luna won or podiumed at a previous event? But anyway, well done. So anyway, yeah, this sort of so they've got like a strength of not a strength. They've got a victory point differential scale, but also they've got objectives with objective markers and stuff. So I'm logged in, aren't I? Bizarre. Right. Right. Okay, cool. So, Luna 1. Right, let's go back to the placings. So, Michael, Phil, Luna, well done, well done, well done. Michael got a third with Chaos Dwarves. So these are 2,500 point lists. So we've got a Black Orc, War Boss, with a flying carpet. That's interesting. You don't see that very often. I don't... he just got a great weapon. A 5 at ward and a flying carpet. Okay. Then you got a Sorcerer Prophet. He's a level 4 wizard, obviously, on a Lammasu. And you got a Taruk, which has the armor of Barstarak the Cruel, which is I forget what that does. Let's have a quick look. That's going to be, it's a supported faction. It's a non-supported faction, sorry. And the armor of Barstarak, wherever that is, armor of Barstarak. Once one of the blah blah blah, immune psychology, magic resistance 2. Oh, I guess it's full plate, isn't it? For 50 points, is that really worth it? I guess he thought so. Yeah, so he's got like full plate and then shield. So he's got a 3-up save against shooting, 4-up save in combat. I guess that's okay. Then he's got some Black Orcs, but only the minimum. Like 5 Black Orcs required, because you've got to take a unit of Black Orcs per Black Orc war boss, Black Orc character, sorry. So that's why that's there. And then we've got 30 Infernal Guard, which have blunderbusses. Yeah, of course they do. Blunderbusses are amazing. They're like one of the best shooting weapons in the game. They're absolutely fantastic. Look at this, nonsense here. So yeah, they're only 12-inch range. They do have volley fire, but they have multiple shots D3. They have AP1, although strength 3 isn't great. However, they don't suffer any negative modifiers for firing at long range, or for using multiple shots, or while making stand and shoot. And in addition, if 20 more models shoot at the same target, they may re-roll any rolls of a natural 1 when rolling to wound. So they get D3 shots each. The only negative they get is basically move and shoot, but that's it. So blunderbusses are absolutely brilliant. So having 30 of them means you've got to kill 10 of them, and they're toughness 4, and they've got a 4 up save against shooting. I mean, they're absolutely marvellous troops. And even if you do charge them, you're going to get hit in the face with, like, oh god, so much. Especially if he's done 15 times 2. Like, oh, painful. Sorry, my voice is going for some reason. I've only just got up. Then we've got some Bull Centaur renders, which are quite quick, and 2 Iron Demons are, again, really, really good, because they've got the steam cannonade is pretty effective. They're high toughness, high wound, high armor save, just nonsense. And then he's got a Dreadquake mortar, which slows the enemy down, which is really, really good for an army that's quite slow itself. Like, it reduces move, doesn't it? I can't remember exactly the rule as to why. I shall quickly have a look. Dreadquake mortar. Yeah, so until your next start of turn suffers, any unit, friend or foe, that was in 2d6 of the central hole suffers -1 to its move and cannot use Swift Stride. So in terms of turning off, you remember what I said about Swift Stride being the cheat code? Well, you can break that with this Dreadquake mortar. So, turning off Swift Stride is really, really strong. And actually, it means that you being quite slow doesn't really matter that much, because you can turn off your opponent's speed to an extent. Cool. So that's a very good and sensible list by Michael. So well done, Michael, for coming third. Phil Carl came in second with Kemri. He's got a level 4 priest on a bone dragon. He's got a tomb king. This is on a bone dragon with the armor of the ages. Look, if you want to see whether an item is broken or not, see if everybody takes it. Because if everybody's taking it, that means it's probably too good or too cheap. And then we've got Armor of the Ages and Talisman of Protection and Potion of Toughness. He's gone really heavy on the defensive there. But I guess you can. Then he's got some Stalkers, he's got some Archers, he's got a big block of Chariots, that's pretty good. With a Death Mask of Karnut, which means this counts as being... causes... Well, the champion model causes terror. But you don't need any kind of, like, outnumbering effects for terror, so that's pretty good, because it means that the Chariots can make stuff run away. He's got a big, so 3x3 Stalkers. Again, 3 Tomb Scorpions. Tomb Scorpions are great. They've got Killing Blow and Monster Slayer, so they're just really scary, because you just, like, you charge one into, like, any kind of big monster, and they could just get that 1/6, and then you're dead. And then we got a couple of Necro Sphinx and a Casket. So this is, again, a very strong list, because you've got 4 big, flying, horrible, Swift Stridey, Fly 9 monster things to deal with. I mean, that's just, all 4 of them could quite happily sit on a flank and just take out one flank and then roll down an army. Like, That's really, really nasty. Really nasty. So, I mean, that's not going to be his only play, obviously, but if somebody sets up badly, you can absolutely have them. So, yeah, well done, Phil. Great list. Love it. And then Luna managed to win. Oh, yeah, Luna names all the characters. Fantastic. So we have Duke Hussar, Wandering Rose. What's Rose in French? Anyway. What have we got? We've got the Falconhorn of Fredemund and the Virtue of Heroism. So the Falconhorn turns off enemy flying. That's amazing. Paladin Gusel, who is the Battle Standard Bearer with a War Banner and a Royal Pegasus. Makes sense. Fire Witch Morgana. Fire Witch. Level 4 Wizard. Ruby Ring of Ruin. Battle Magic. I quite like Battle Magic, actually. Not a lot on... Oh, no, there is a lot of points on characters. Oh, is he... He's on a Hippogriff. Hippogriff. Royal Peg. Warhorse. There's a lot been spent on putting them on monsters, I think. But it does seem like quite a lot of points for what doesn't seem like a lot of stuff, really. But, yeah. Oh, she's gone for Lore Familiar as well, I guess. Then we got some longbows, some archers, 3 units of 10 archers. Then some Knights of the Realm, 3 units of them, 3 units of 5 or 6 Knights of the Realm, 2 units of, these are special, I don't know what these are going to be, but 3 units of maybe Grail Knights, no, the maybe Grail Knights, but the specials, I thought Grail Knights were rare, to be honest, so I don't really know what they are. They're quite expensive for... No, Grail Knights are always rare, aren't they? Bear with, dear listener. Grail Knights are rare. Squires, Questing Knights, Pegasus Knights. Yes, of course. Pegasus Knights are possibly the best unit in the game because they have the skirmish rule. And so 5 of them is... so 289. I'll just show you what I'm looking at. I'm just trying to work out what they are. 5 of them would be 250, 275. Yeah, it's Pegasus Knights, isn't it? So 15 Pegasus Knights. Oof. Sheesh. That's quite nasty. And Peg Knights slap hard. They're pretty nasty when they get into combat. So, yeah, very good. Very good, Luna. Well done for winning. Much fun was had by all, I am sure. Although she came close in the first game. I think that was just a scrapey win against Phil Carl with Kemry. Oh, the guy came second. So that's interesting. So the first game she played was against the guy who finished second. And she just scraped a win by the look of things. If not, maybe drew against him. I don't know. Because whoever's done this tournament hasn't set up what a win, draw, loss is on BCP. But, whatever. So I've had to guess. Onslaught in the Old World. This was a short one-day tournament. 1,500 points. Which took place in Ireland. What? Oh. Oops. I'm going to have to... this is... I thought I got all organised. I tried to get all organised and be a bit more slick, and now I'm coughing and spluttering on the thing, not turning my mic off, and no, I don't want to do that. And I've just accidentally clicked off an event, so it's all going really well. Really, really well. It was no, not that. We've got that. Nation calls. Onslaught in Dublin, Ireland, which is 9 Bellegarde Square West. Which is somewhere here. We haven't looked at Ireland yet, so I've stopped doing this for all of them, but so somewhere here was a tournament. Oh, maybe in Mr. Donut. It's an interesting little development, but yeah, somewhere around here was a tournament. I don't know where. Oh, Underworld Gaming. That looks likely, doesn't it? Can we see? Oh, hold on a minute. We can drop a little man. Oh, it's in there, next to Aussie Outback. Oh, I want to see Underworld Gaming. Why can't I drop a man there? No, that's it. That's it. Oh well. So it's down there. Oh, I think you can just about see it there, can't you? There you go. Hidden away there was a tournament this weekend in which David, with his Tomb Kings, was victorious. So let's have a look at them. Warriors of Chaos came second, and High Elves came third. So High Elves coming third is quite good. So we've got a Prince with Dragon Helm, Dragon, pretty standard. Level 2 mage, again 1500 points. It's pretty standard to have a combat dragon guy and a low level wizard. I've got some reavers, some silver helms, some dragon. Yeah, this is a good list. This is a very good list. I like this list. It's all quick. It all does quite a lot of damage. Yeah, that's good. Then we've got David, but didn't he? Yeah, he was the one who won. James McDonald, well done for coming in second. Lord, Dragon, Nurgle, all the Dark Fire of Chaos. That's the Chaos Dragon's fire, isn't it? Yeah. Fumes of Contagion. That's the other breath weapon attack. And he's got level 4 wizard on a steed. Well done for fitting both of those in a 1500 point list. Well done. That's good going. And he's got some quick stuff and some Dragon Ogres and a Shaggoth. Yeah, I mean, the Shaggoth, you could possibly drop because they're not that good. Dragon Ogres are weirdly better, but arguably that's a pretty good list overall. And yeah, so well done, James. Great list. And then David Bowes has Mortuary Cult, I think. So 2 wizards. Yep. And some skeleton skirmishers, some tomb swarms, some horse archers, Ushabti with great bows, of course. Skeleton warriors. That's interesting, actually. You don't typically see skeleton warriors. And then we've got a couple of tomb scorpions, casket, and a colossus. Again, you don't typically see those nowadays. So that's quite an interesting list. David's done something a bit unusual, but yeah, I mean, how the hell he managed to fit all of that in 1500 points, I don't know. That was probably part of the challenge for the opponent, is the sheer volume of different things to deal with and different threats, with a really solid level of characters. That's a really solid couple of characters there. So yeah, well done, David. That's not actually an amazing list, but I think one that you could play very well. Cool. So that was Onslaught in the Old World. The Nation Calls, wow. The Nation Calls. Warhammer Old World. We're going for not World of Warcraft. Well done. And that took place in Balcatta. Which is sort of here somewhere. Beyond Odyssey, games and hobby. That seems likely, doesn't it? Oh, again, Australia with a nice sort of open roads and, you know, it's all very nice, isn't it? I thought it was over there. Oh, there it is. So Beyond Odyssey, games and hobby. That's where a tournament happened. I love. Oh, that's an amazing car. I don't know what that. Who? Yeah. There's far fewer pickups than I expected. I thought Australia was full of pickups. Anyway. Chaos Dwarfs. Ben managed to. I forgot about that. The Chaos Dwarfs managed to win, so that'll be interesting. We've got Orcs and Goblins coming in, so we'll just quickly have a look at the... So this is a 1999 tournament, so essentially you're only allowed 0 to 1 of the things per 1,000 points, basically, so that's what they've done. So anyway, so Duke, Paladin, with the Grail Vow, level 4 Wizard, because you can fit all of that in a Bretonnian list. So he's got knights, obligatory unit of bowmen, minimum points possible on that. Got some peg knights, 5 of them, great news. Grail knights, yeah, I mean I'd prefer some peg knights than them, and he's got a couple of units of squires to and they're scouts as well, so they get to deploy in an advanced manner. I'd be interested to know how he used those, actually, because you're seeing these pop up quite a bit. So I'd be interested to know what Bretonnian players are actually doing with their scouts, like why they're there, basically. What's the point? Because I can't figure it out. Then the player who came third, Oliver Pawn, Pown. With Orcs and Goblins, we've got level 4, War Boss, Big Boss, lots and lots of characters, and we're going for Night Goblins, so presumably 9 Fanatics, yes, 9 Fanatics, excellent news. It's put some banners on the Night Goblins, and then we've got some Squig Hoppers, a couple of Bolt Throwers, again, why not take 3? And then a couple of Mangler Squigs who have random move, which apparently everybody thinks is amazing now. But I just think it's too unreliable for me. But yeah, that looks like a pretty decent... Like 9 Fanatics is always going to be difficult to face off against. A couple of Bolt Throwers just to be a bit of a pain. And then some Squig Hopper mobs just to run around and have Swift Stride, basically. So yeah, pretty good. Pretty good list. Well done, Oliver, for wielding it appropriately and coming in second, and well done, Ben, for winning with Chaos Dwarves. So we've got a level 4 Sorcerer Prophet, we've got a Taruk with a Charmed Shield, which is a 6-up ward, I think. Then he's got a Hobgoblin Khan, because he wants to take Hobgoblins, because you have to take a Khan for each unit of Hobgoblins, and Hobgoblin Wolf Riders are probably the best light cavalry in the game. They're absolutely fantastic. The limitation is that you've got to take a Khan to take some Wolf Riders, and vice versa, a bit like Black Orcs. But again, like, you know, he's got the Ruby Ring of Ruin on it, which is fantastic. So, you know, why not? And he's given them reserve move, so he gets to move them, cast the Ruby Ring, and then move back. And do a little bit of shooting. But, like, you know, that's pretty good. The Khan doesn't have reserve move on itself, so you need to put it in the unit, because reserve move is one of those, if most of the unit has it, sort of abilities. It's not all. Like drilled, it has to be every single, or countercharge, it has to be every single model in the unit that has the rule in order for the unit to use it. Whereas reserve move is one of those where it's the majority of models have it, then, you know, characters basically inherit it. Then we've got some blunderbusses. He's gone for 21. I mean, I'd want more, because they get to reroll 1s to wound when there's 20 or more. So a good round of shooting from your opponent and you're down to below that 20. So, you know, cutthroats are okay, but they're not as good as taking another 4 or 5 Infernal Guard to give you a bit more leeway. Oh, pardon me. He's got an Iron Demon. Iron Demons are great. He's gone for Hellbound, which you typically don't see. All that does is it allows you to re-roll an artillery dice once per game. I think it's once per game. And oh, do you know what? I think I've got a cold coming on. I haven't had one for a while. 6 at ward. Once per game, reroll scatter. So, I mean, yeah, I guess 6 at ward is probably worth it. Yeah, and then he's got some Bull Centaur renders, which are with the Bachal, which are going in with the Tauruk, probably. And he's got some Kadai Fireborn, because the models are amazing. I mean, the rules are okay, but the models are amazing. So, yeah, I mean, but well done for winning with this list. I mean, I've criticised it a little bit, but I think it's pretty solid overall. I can see why it's done well. And actually, it's not like a super overpowered chaos. It's pretty characterful. There's some interesting things in there, and the models are all great. And he's pretty much got the whole range of what's available. So you know that'd be a pretty good army to play against, to be fair. So well done, Ben, for winning, and you know, hopefully giving your opponent some really good games. Yeah. Be interesting to see. He beat him. He was on table 2. Beat Mark Ravi and Oliver Pawn. So that's interesting. Cool. And then the last one was Bugman's Big Brewery Bash, which is Rob Symes' thing over in Nottingham. We've got Richard Manklow with his Bretonia list, Andrew Evans with his Warriors of Chaos list, and Matt Goldsborough, who's a big AOS wargamer. It seems to be moving over into the old world, which would be pretty interesting to see what he does here. And there's Andy Ransom. You see, dwarfing again, managing 2 dwarves. Dwarves? 2 dwarfs? I mean 2 draws. Tom got a draw as well. You see what I mean? Dwarfs got a draw. Like, out of all the dwarfs, got a draw. Got a draw there. Actually, let's have a look at Sophie's list quick. So Sophie managed to be in the unfortunate position of not winning a game. Now my internet's decided it can't be asked. We'll have a look at that in a sec then. I'd like to see what she's got that's not working. Okay, so Matt won. Richard came third, didn't he? With Bretonia. This is a 2,000 point tournament, 5 game. He's got a lot of stuff on the Duke, on a Royal Peg. He's got Lady Elise Ducat, which is excellent. I think she's great. Yeah, all the rules and stuff that she's got, I think she's fantastic. Really, really good defensive wizard. And then he's got a Prophetess on top. Wow. That's he's gone real magic heavy. And she's got the Falkenhorn of Fredemund. That's interesting. And he's got a BSB. How's he managed to fit all that amount of character in a 2,000 point list? He's got some Knights of the Realm, Peasant Bowman, and a small unit of Men-at-Arms. I mean, I guess. Yeah, actually, that kind of makes sense, a small unit of Men-at-Arms with no upgrades. Yeah. Because, like, it could just block something off, just get in the way. Got some mounted yeomen, got some squires. Again, what are guys doing with these squires? What are they for? And then he's got some Pegasus Knights, which, you know, again, sensible. So yeah. Yeah, that's a great list. Well done, Richard. Looks quite interesting. Then we've got that list is still not loading. Why won't you let me look at Sophie's list? Here we go. So let's have a look at Sophie. Sophie didn't do very well. Got a bit unlucky, possibly. Got an Anvil of Doom. I think that's rubbish because it just stands still and you can't really do anything with it. You need mobility. She's got long beards. Rangers are good. Hammerers, they're all right. I mean, 10's a sensible amount because people might actually charge it then, but they might charge it with something that can wipe them out. And she's got more rangers and a bolt throw. Yeah, there's not enough artillery here. Where's all the artillery? Where's all the points gone? See what I mean about dwarves? They're just so expensive for what they are. she's gone for Rangers and given them all the upgrades, which you kind of need to do, to be fair. But you know, maybe having, I don't know. You know, where's the organ guns? Where's the, you know, where's the good stuff? There's no organ guns. There's no troll hammer torpedoes. You know, they're the things that are. There's no cannons. These are all the things that dwarves are good at the moment. These are things are not. Rangers are good, but everything else is a bit challenged, I guess. And also, the Anvil of Doom means it's static, in that you've got, you know, a big, like over 10% of your army that just stands there and waits for, you know, but you've got nothing. Pardon me. You've got nothing really to incentivize the enemy to come to you. So yeah, okay, I can see why that didn't do very well. Right. Andrew Evans, Puppets Flying Circus, Aspiring Champion. On a chariot, he's got a demon. Oh yeah, this was quite interesting. Yeah, so he's got a demon prince who's level 4 Tzeentch. He's got a level 4 wizard as well, and he's got a BSB on a chariot. With the crown of 5-up regeneration. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that works, to be honest. I mean, there's a lot of magic there. You've got Marcus Tzeentch. What law's he gone for? It doesn't actually say. Oh, battle magic. Both battle magic. So we've got some knights, we've got some marauders, we've got some warhounds, we've got some marauder horsemen, and we've got a couple of chimera. Chimera, I don't know whether they're any good or not, to be honest. I haven't really looked at them. Is this something that I've missed, perhaps? Let's have a quick look, see if they are actually any good, or whether it's just a cool model. Wrong button. Chimera. They have movement 6, fly, and swift stride. Yep, so that's good. Some wounds, not a great toughness, but not terrible. Fiend tail, that looks like a good upgrade. How much does that cost? 10 points. Yeah, do that. 190. You can give it regen, so you can give it poisoned, which with all its attacks, what's it done? Regen, flaming breath, fiend tail. So he's giving it the flaming breath, which is strength 4. Arguably poison's better. I don't know. But that to me seems better. But 2 flaming, I mean, that could be good. Strength 4. You could generate a lot of wounds on sort of smaller units. That would be good for, especially taking out shooting units, actually, where you don't want to charge them, where you could just like pop the 2 chimera nearby and just, you know, hit them with fire. You could take out quite a few that way. So yeah, that's an interesting list. I'd love to know how that worked and what the tactic was and where the demon prince goes. Like, what's his job on the table? Because you've got 10 marauders of Tzeentch, which presumably are to go with the sorcerer lord to give it +1 to cast, and the skirmishers, so you know, -1 to hit and shooting. Then we've got a couple of vanguardy warhounds that go out ahead of the knights, but they're only knights of Khorne, so they're not brilliant. They're easy to like lead around. You've then got some marauder horse, which is Slanesh with javelins. I mean, they're marauder horse are okay, but they're not brilliant. Like, I just don't know where the damage comes from, to be honest. I just can't figure it out, unless it's all just from battle magic and Tzeentch spells, because the Tzeentch spell is pretty nasty. So, you know, battle magic does quite a lot of damage, especially the little template things. They're really good for like sniping characters, because you can choose the direction they go in. Somebody pointed that out last week, and it's pretty obvious. To be honest, I'm coming around to battle magic being the best form of magic, to be honest. But yeah, I'd love to know how that went. And then Matt won with a pretty standard mortuary cult list. So we got High Priest on a Dragon, High Priest on a Dragon, Mortuary Priest BSB. You can just about fit all that in to 1,000 points. You know, that's pretty good. One of which with illusion and the serpent staff. Serpent staff is in the Arcane Journal, I think. Is it? Hold on, I'll just quickly check. I think that gives poisoned attacks or something. Does it? Oh no, no. It does give poison attacks, but it is strength plus 2 AP 2. So it's basically a great weapon with poison attacks that doesn't strike last. So he's gone for illusion, lore familiar, so he can pick spectral doppelganger. So he's making sure he's getting spectral doppelganger, so he can do 2d6 strength, 5 AP 2 hits in combat when he charges in with this thing. So that's job. That's a combat version with it, which is why it's got Talisman of Protection, because it's probably going to get hit back at some point. This one's the one that flies around with a breath weapon, using it and then trying to essentially cast leadership debuffs to try and get people to break a bit more. You've got 2 Casket of Souls. I mean, caskets are interesting because they do, so they give you +1 to casting, which is good, but they have this this Light of Death bound spell, which does D3 strength 3 hits AP 1. However, the target's got to take a leadership check before it gets hit by it, and if it fails, it's D6 plus 3 strength 6, multiple wounds 2, no armor or regen. So Light of Death is really nasty if you fail your leadership check. That's why he's got this necromancy, because necromancy contains lots of leadership debuff spells. So this can fly around, cast the debuff spells, use its breath weapon, and then the target can get hit by a couple of Casket of Souls, and hopefully the target will lose one or both of its leadership checks and just get absolutely obliterated. He's then got lots of other stuff that's pretty nasty. So he's got some Necros Serpents that have the terrors below, so they can come on later and just be a bit of a pain in the arse. They can get sprung up by the High Priests to get in the way. So that's a really good list with lots and lots of bells and whistles, and it does lots and lots of interesting, cool stuff. So yeah, well done, Matt, for winning with a very good list. Yeah, I really like that one actually. That's a really super good list. Oh, I'm really tired. It's not even 8. I need more coffee. I think I'm coming down with a cold. Do you know what I mean when you feel a bit nasally? Right. So that's it for tournaments this week. We've done the stats. We've done the tournaments. What's coming up? Oh, idiot! I can't use it. I feel like a bit coldy as well. Like my head's a bit weird. So, Rob Simon's got another tournament going on. 8th of June. That's this week, isn't it? Has he got 2 1 week after another? Hold on. Have I? I've not selected a game system, have I? Yeah, so that's all that's... Wow! So we've got very slim pickings over the next few weeks. Rob Simon's got another event this weekend. Then we've got another couple of events, so that's quite good. That should give me enough time this weekend to. I need to sort out my gaming / hobby space so that I can do like more videos. Because I tried to do it in the shed and it doesn't work very well. The lighting's pretty terrible and it's not great in there. It gets quite cold sometimes. So I want to sort out a nice. There we go. I need to build myself a table over there in the bay window so I can move my computer and stuff over in one corner and have like my hobby stuff on one side. So like I've got everything in one place. So that's going to be, as well as doing some gardening this weekend. That's my job this weekend, really. So yeah. But anyway, if you're still watching, then hopefully I've earned enough to get a subscription off you. We're coming up to an hour and 10 minutes, which is pretty good going. So I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you've enjoyed listening to me ramble on about stats and stuff for a bit. And I'll I don't know why I clicked on that. That's what I'm going to watch now. I like watching like true crime type stuff because I'm a nerd, and you know, I just find it interesting to watch like the excesses of human behaviour, like how people just. I just find it's weird how unreasonable some people are with like actual law enforcement. Like it just baffles me as to why anybody would behave that way. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But you know, but it's just fascinating to like, you know, how what is going through their mind when they're saying just obviously dumb lies to like absolutely baffling. Anyway, can we actually check this to see if there's any tournaments, open tournaments from now on? 15th. Oh, so there's Battle for Blackfriar Pass, which might get enough by then. There's one on the 28th. There's not a lot coming up actually over June, is there? So June's quite a light month for tournaments, so there won't be much change to the meta over June, which will be interesting. And I think it's about time for Dwarves to drop, isn't it? They should be dropping soon, so I don't know whether there's any. Oh, she looks so good. The model, that just looks. Oh, I think I'm going to have to get that. I love Sisters of Battle. I think they're brilliant. Like the aesthetic is just fantastic. I hate painting them though because there's so much faffy little detail like this. Like this is an heavy metal paint job, right? And this bit looks awful because it's really faffy. What is going on with her face? See what I mean about Games Workshop not being able to do female faces? Like she looks like. That doesn't look like a woman. It doesn't even look human, does it? It looks awful. Nice shield though. Oh, I've got enough things to paint. Got some more AOS news. Some Idoneth stuff. I'm just going to go and have a quick look around Warhammer community now to see if there's any rules or anything interesting. For a second, apologies. Yeah. I just keep looking at AOS stuff and just thinking, oh, it's so complicated. Like the thing is, like the rule set. I keep saying this, but like the old world rule set is very complicated. But once you've got it, the faction rules are very simple. Whereas AOS, it's in fact the main game is actually getting fairly complicated, and then every single faction adds a really complicated rule set on top of that. And like I've said it before, like every single faction in AOS, right? AOS has so many different versions of the game because how Deepkin and Fireslayers interact changes the game to such an extent that that game, Idoneth versus Fireslayers, is one version of AOS, right? Idoneth versus Daughters of Cain, for instance, is another game entirely, and the way that those two factions interact I would argue is so different to how other factions interact. Whereas in the old world and Warhammer Fantasy and so on and so forth, basically the way that factions interact on the tabletop is the same, regardless of faction. Like, the factions don't change the rules of the game so much that the game is changed. The game is pretty stable in terms of the actual core mechanics of it. Whereas because AOS factions basically change most of the core mechanics, you know, it means that there isn't just one version of AOS that you need to know. There's all of the versions. Whereas in the old world, you don't really need to know what every single faction does in order to play it. Which means actually the mental load for the old world, I think, is a lot lighter. So anyway, I don't think there has been anything else on the old world, has there, for quite a while? Not since April. So we had some painting tips. So we should be seeing... So look, the preview for Dwarfs was March. When was... okay, so Orcs were previewed January, and then they came out March. So January, February, March. So 3 months later. So March, April, May, June. So Dwarves should be out any time now, which is why I desperately need to get my hobby space done, because I need to get my Khemri finished so I can buy some Dwarves. Anyway, I've waffled on for far too long, as usual. But if you've liked the video, there is indeed a button for you to express such feelings. Weird way of saying it. Yeah. If you've watched this far, you probably should subscribe. Like, you know, I don't really mind. I'm nearly up to 500 subscribers, which is so weird. Like, it is so weird. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, and I shall catch you in another vid soon. Yeah, so I need to get my hobbies place sorted, and then my plans are basically doing something on a Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday evening. Cool, but anyway, that's my plan for now. Anyway, bye.